1. The Woodcutter's Axe. In the mountains, there lived a peasant who made a living by chopping wood. Life was tough, and it took him great effort to build a small wooden house to shield himself from the wind and rain. One day, he ventured down to the town with his chopped wood to exchange for goods. It wasn't until late afternoon that he returned home, only to find his house engulfed in flames. Neighbors rushed to help him put out the fire, but as dusk fell and the wind picked up, they couldn't extinguish the blaze. Helpless, they could only stand by and watch as the wooden house burned. Undeterred, the peasant took a stick and ventured into the smoldering ruins, searching tirelessly. Onlookers speculated he was searching for some valuable treasure. Intrigued by his determination, after half a day of searching, the peasant exclaimed triumphantly, "I found it! I found it!" Curious, the neighbors gathered around to see what he had discovered, only to find him holding a sturdy iron axe. With confidence, he declared, "With just this axe, I can build a new, stronger house." The lesson learned. Success isn't about avoiding defeat, but rather about persevering and moving forward positively, even after facing setbacks. 2. Poor remains poor. Once upon a time, there was a very poor and struggling man. A wealthy person saw his plight and wanted to help. The wealthy person gave him a cow, hoping he would farm well, plant seeds when spring came, and escape poverty by autumn. The poor man felt hopeful and started striving. But after a few days, the cow needed grass to eat, and he needed rice to eat, making life even harder than before. The poor man thought it would be better to sell the cow and buy some goats. First, he would slaughter one for meat, and the rest would breed more goats. When they grew, he would sell them for more money. The poor man executed his plan. After eating one goat, the remaining ones were slow to breed, making life difficult again. So he couldn't resist slaughtering another one. The poor man thought, "This isn't working. I'd better sell the goats and buy chickens. Chickens lay eggs quickly, and I can sell the eggs immediately for money. Life will become better." The poor man followed through with his plan. But over time, nothing changed. Facing difficulties, he couldn't resist slaughtering the chickens, leaving only one. The poor man's dream completely collapsed. Disappointed, the poor man said, "Getting rich is really hard. I'd rather sell the remaining chicken, buy some alcohol, and enjoy it. Nothing to worry about anymore." Spring came quickly. The wealthy person eagerly brought seeds to the poor man, but seeing him drinking alcohol with pickles, the cow gone, and the house still as poor as before, the wealthy person turned away, and the poor man continued as before. Lesson learned. Many poor people have dreams, even opportunities, and take action, but they don't persist until the end. The wealthy always think positively, while the poor always think negatively and lack perseverance. 3. The horse waiting for its great calling. Once upon a time, there was a young celestial horse eagerly awaiting its destiny to be discovered by the great Lord of Destiny. A merchant came and asked, "Are you willing to accompany me?" The horse shook its head and replied, "I am a celestial horse. How can I accompany a merchant in transporting goods?" A soldier came and asked, "Would you like to join me?" Again, the horse shook its head and said, "I am a celestial horse. How can I fulfill my potential as just an ordinary soldier?" A hunter came and asked, "Are you ready to come with me?" Once more, the horse shook its head and responded, "I am a celestial horse. How can I serve under a mere hunter?" Day after day, year after year, the horse still hadn't found the ideal opportunity for itself. Then one day, a royal messenger was sent to the mortal world in search of a celestial horse. The celestial horse encountered the royal messenger and said, "I am the celestial horse you seek." The royal messenger asked, "Do you know the roads of our country?" The horse nodded. "Have you ever been in battle? Do you have experience in combat?" Again, the horse nodded. The royal messenger asked once more, "How can I utilize you?" The horse replied, "I can travel 1,000 miles in a day and 800 miles at night." The royal messenger put the horse to the test, having it run a short distance. The horse tried its best to run forward, but after a few steps, it was panting heavily. Sweat drenched its body. "You're too old. You're no use." The royal messenger exclaimed before leaving, "Dear friend, today, your seemingly ordinary efforts are all building towards the future. Every experience, every disappointment, every rejection lays the foundation for future success. It's not about waiting until you're old and unable to run anymore to regret. Credentials don't equate to capability. Diplomas don't equate to culture. Past glories are merely history to reminisce upon. Therefore, how yesterday was doesn't matter. What matters is how today is, and how tomorrow will be." Lesson learned. In life, we may encounter many difficulties and hardships, but with effort and perseverance, we will surely have a bright future. Success isn't a straight path. It's a journey full of twists and turns. But if you always define your goals clearly, understand your strengths and resources, you'll find the shortest path to get there. 4. The Tale of the Lost Watch. One day, a farmer lost his watch. He remembered having wandered around the rice granary, searching diligently, but finding nothing. A T wasn't just any watch. It was a gift from his late wife, holding immense sentimental value. After a prolonged search without success, the farmer sought the help of some nearby children playing outside. He promised a reward to whoever could find the lost watch. Excited at the prospect of a reward, the children swiftly scoured the area around the granary. Some even ventured outside. However, none of them could locate the watch, leading the farmer to suggest giving up and abandoning the search. Yet, one boy approached, pleading for another chance to search. Impressed by the boy's sincerity, the farmer agreed to let him try once more. Shortly after, the boy returned, holding the farmer's lost watch in his hand. The farmer rejoiced, but also pondered why this boy succeeded where others had given up. And the boy's answer provided profound insight. He said, "I did nothing but sit quietly to listen. In that silence, I heard the ticking of the watch, seconds, minutes, hours passing by. Following the sound led me to find it." The farmer learned a valuable lesson that day. Lesson learned. Through this story, many may perceive it as a simple tale, but its meaning runs deep. With inner silence, one can triumph over the workings of the mind. Always allow your mind some time to rest and relax daily. Moreover, the story carries the message of never giving up in the face of adversity, whether easy or difficult. Cultivating patience, perseverance, and resilience will lead to success in all endeavors. 5. The story of the great poet of the Tang Dynasty, Li Bai. As a child, the great poet of the Tang Dynasty, Li Bai, was not diligent in his studies. He often skipped school to play. One day, unable to endure the monotony of the classroom, he fled to the outskirts for some amusement. He reached the banks of a stream where he encountered an elderly woman with hair as white as snow, sharpening a piece of iron. Li Bai stood there for a while, his gaze fixed on the woman as she tirelessly sharpened the iron. Feeling intrigued, he asked, "Old lady, what are you sharpening this for?" The old lady smiled and replied, "To make a sewing needle. But how can you succeed?" Li Bai inquired further. "Success is certain. It just takes time," she confidently answered. "Oh," Li Bai exclaimed in amazement. The old woman's confident response deeply stirred Li Bai. He hastily turned back to return to his studies. From that moment on, he immersed himself in learning, eventually achieving great success. Lesson learned. This is the origin of the saying, sharpening your axe won't hold you back from cutting wood. This story, spanning thousands of years, still encourages us to take step by step towards success. Often, it's not that we cannot succeed, but rather the path to success is just one step away, yet we lack the perseverance to take that step, leading to failure. 6. Story of the Well Diggers. In ancient times, there were two men who set out to dig a well. One of them was relatively intelligent and carefully selected a location that seemed easy to dig for water. The other, rather foolishly, without understanding the geology, randomly chose a spot that was very difficult to dig. The first man, upon seeing where the second had chosen, silently chuckled to himself and devised a plan to take advantage of the situation. He proposed a wager, suggesting they compete to see who could dig up water first. The winner would be deemed the victor, while the loser would have to treat the winner to drinks at the finest tavern in the area. What do you say? Dare to try? He challenged. The second man, feeling motivated by the idea of a wager, readily agreed. The first man was confident of his victory, alternating between digging day and night, resting every 2 days. However, the second man persisted tirelessly, working ceaselessly throughout the day without rest, observing the depth dug by the second man surpassing his own. The first man sneered, "Why waste your energy? I doubt you'll ever dig up water." Unfazed, the second man continued with his own efforts. At this point, the first man began to doubt his chosen location. It's been so long, and still no water? Perhaps I should choose an even easier spot. So, he selected a spot even easier to dig, confidently claiming, "This time, I guarantee water in 7 days." But by the 6th day, he began to doubt again. Why hadn't he found water yet? Was he mistaken? So, he moved to another location. Thus, the first man kept switching spots, always shallow, never finding water. Eventually, he gave up. Meanwhile, the second man, with his well dug deeper than any of the first man's attempts, successfully found water. Lesson learned. When conditions are right, success will naturally follow. Before achieving success, there may be setbacks, but perseverance and overcoming challenges are key. Therefore, success is often right in front of us, waiting to be seized through determination and persistence. 7. The Boy and the Jar of Peanuts. The boy noticed a jar of peanuts on the table and eagerly wanted to take some to eat. He reached his hand into the jar and attempted to grab a handful. However, he tried to grab too many peanuts at once, making his hand too large to withdraw from the narrow opening of the jar. Struggling to both grasp the peanuts tightly and pull his hand out, he found himself unable to retrieve his hand, which was now firmly stuck in the jar. In pain, he burst into tears. At that moment, his mother rushed in and asked, "What's wrong, dear?" The boy, still crying, replied, "I can't get this handful of peanuts out of the jar, Mom." "Oh, don't rush like that. Just take it slowly, grabbing a few peanuts at a time, and your hand won't get stuck in there," his mother reassured. Following his mother's advice, the boy began to remove a few peanuts from the jar at a time, smiling as he did so. "You're right, Mom. It's so easy. I should have thought of that myself, shouldn't I?" he exclaimed. Lesson learned. Success requires time and persistence, starting from small steps. Haste often leads to major obstacles. 8. Sowing seeds. The green bean sprouts overnight after soaking in damp cotton. Chili seeds take about 48 hours. Papaya seeds need 15 to 20 days. Apple seeds take up to 3 months and must be soaked in warm water before sowing. Each plant has its own germination time, cannot be forced, as long as the environment is favorable with sufficient nutrients. Similarly, in work and life, there are times when we sow and sow, yet see no results. We look around and see friends, colleagues prospering and bearing abundant fruits. Suddenly, we start to doubt ourselves, doubt the suitability of the environment, doubt everything, gradually losing our initial confidence. This is entirely normal, but that doesn't mean we fail. Lesson learned. We are simply sowing different seeds from those around us. Just keep persevering, keep nurturing properly, and you will surely reap the rewards. Don't give up. It applies to work. It applies to love.